Sorry about that. My name is Abby, Abby Baten. I will be doing my presentation on the Australian bat Lyssavirus. Alright, Australian bat Lyssavirus was first discovered in Australia in 1996. It has a death rate of 3 people so far. The word Lyssa comes from a Greek word meaning rage or fury, and it is a zoonotic disease, meaning that it can transfer from mammal to mammal. And then the common carrier was this fruit bat that are called flying fox bats. The transmission of the infectious disease is through a scratch or a bite wound, and it's through the saliva. That is mostly the way the disease is transferred from host to host. Alright, so the way the virus transports in the body, it's once it's penetrated in the skin, the integumentary system, it's gonna basically affect the muscle cell, and it's going to be transport through the synaptic cleft in order to reach a nearby neuron. And the way it's going to enter the neuron is through it's going to fuse with the neuron by phospholipid bilayer through endocytosis, and it's going to transport in an axonal retrograde fashion. It's going to want to reach to the soma body because that's where the nucleus is at, and the virus needs the nucleus for the reason that the nucleus is basically a manufacturing building where the virus is able to go ahead and give its genetic code, and the nucleus is going to do everything for itself. It's going to replicate, is going through go through the protein synthesis, and then it will bud out basically exocytosis, and it's going to affect cell by cell by cell, and this is basically the neuron of the peripheral nervous system. So say for instance, if the patient was bit on the leg, it's basically hitting all those cells along the way in the peripheral nervous system, and its goal is to basically reach to the CNS, central nervous system, because it wants to take over the host. So it's going to go up its way on the peripheral nervous system, eventually hitting that dorsal root ganglion, which is on the spinal cord, because that is basically the sensory area where it's going. The peripheral nervous system is basically the sensory input where it's going to send all the messages up to the central nervous system. And so the virus will go ahead and make its way up to the central nervous system. And so this is a picture of having the virus in a neuron along with that's a tumor, but I just wanted to give a picture of it, how beautiful it looks. And this is the central nervous system where basically the virus is going to end up in the patients, and it's going to take over uh, basically every body function that the host. All right, some of the symptoms that a patient is going to start experiencing um, is flu-like symptoms such as chills, fever, feeling fatigue, and this is basically like the onset first of symptoms or so, but once it enters this other second phase, which is the encephalitis, a patient is going to start feeling agitated, is going to experience hydrophobia, which are they're scared of drinking water due to, respiratory constriction, because once the virus has hit the central nervous system, it's where the hypothalamus is at, the hippocampus is at, the brainstem, and they are responsible, these higher brain centers are responsible for those involuntary actions such as the heart rate or the respiratory, and also they are responsible for thinking, regulating temperature, and then also for emotions and behaviors. And so if a virus has basically manifested themselves in the brain, it's destroying all the neurons in there, and so it's affecting the host's ability to function, and it's going to lead to paralysis and some pharyngeal spasm, which they feel like they have a lump in their throat. And so this, in their mind, they're thinking they can't drink this water because due to that feeling of the lump, and basically is that hydrophobia, they don't want to drink water, and they're going to experience convulsions, basically seizures, muscle spasms. If they have destroyed all the neurons are not able to generate any action potentials to the muscles. Therefore, there's no action potentials to the muscles, meaning you can't constrict, you can't do any muscle related motor movements, since it has already damaged in the brain. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. These are a few pictures that are foaming of the mouth. And so basically, that was another thing that I wanted to mention too, was that the virus doesn't want you to drink water, because that is the way it is transported from host to host, is through the saliva. And so there goes a picture of a child that is experiencing hydrophobia. So say, for instance, if they were to drink water, it's basically going to dilute the concentration of the virus, of the foaming. And so the virus will also hit the salivary glands, and that's why it causes that foam in the mouth. Okay, and the cause of death is that you know, basically failure of all the organs, since, the central nervous system controls and regulates other organs, and this brain is basically infected with the virus, and people die from encephalitis, which is the swelling of the head. A patient will die within the 7 days when the symptoms have started, not from initially when they first get bit, because viruses could go through this dormant phase, which basically I want to say kind of like sleeping in a way, dormant, so they're not activated. So once they're activated and the symptoms start kicking in, that's when the patient basically has a week or so before death. So prevention of the virus, basically, since it's the family of the rabies, getting a rabies shots would ideally be the best thing to do. It does give you a series of vaccines that you have to do in a period of a month. So I want to say like three shots in total. Another thing, don't touch any bat that looks sick, or even just in general. Just don't even touch it, whether you're vaccinated or not vaccinated. And if you do get bit or scratched, go ahead and wash the wound immediately with soap and water for at least 5 minutes, and then with alcohol and iodine. Okay, so this is the second video. Um, Okay, so that basically wraps up my presentation. I hope you liked it. I'm so sorry, I was being nervous, but I had really a lot of fun doing some research into this basically rabies virus. Thank you.